Today's quote comes from the MLB legend Bob Uecker. I lead the league in go get 'em next time, end quote. I will too if the Blazers keep playing like they did today. Fellas, cue the intro.
It's the Rip City Wrap-Up, brought to you by Dick Hanna Subaru. Believe in nice. Here are your hosts, Tyree Smith, Danny Marang, and Joe Simons.
Go get 'em next time. That's what Dick Hanna Subaru and everybody else is saying. After the 109-99 fall, the Blazers fall on the road to OKC. Welcome into Studio C on the Rip City Wrap-Up, episode 15 here on the Rip City TV network. Tyree Smith, Joe Simons, Danny Marang joining us. Listen, we were on a great win streak. It was looking hot. It was fun.
Streaks have to end, Tyree.
Streaks have to end.
Three's good enough.
Three's good. No, whatever.
Three's good enough.
I like even numbers. I'm an even number type of guy. Whatever. They were wearing these jerseys tonight, city jerseys. Hope you guys like it. I had to just represent a little bit. Unfortunately, though, Blazers fall 109-99 to OKC. They dropped to a 6-8 record.
Is it unfortunate?
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Well, let me just start here.
Here we go.
I was very prepared when this game was tight all throughout. If the Blazers would have come out on a 4-game winning streak, get to 7-8, do the whole thing of like, hey, I know we want to tank, but, and then reality set in the fourth quarter of this game, and eventually you had a team that was playing very sloppy in the Blazers and a team in the Thunder that wasn't making very many shots, and then Semisonic came on over for all of us, and sure enough, the Thunder took care of business down the stretch. But the Blazers continue to remain plucky. They're a plucky bunch.
The thing that the euphemism that I am going with is they are Swamp Thing. They have the ability to crawl out of the muck and pull you down into it with them. They're not going to rise to the occasion with you and get into a shooting fest, but they will gladly pull you into the goo and get into a rock fight.
Do we have enough of a sample size at this point to say it's not just coincidence? It's not just this team had a player hurt, this team wasn't shooting well. Like, is 15 games enough to say, like, hey, it isn't just circumstances every time?
30's the number that I usually use, but there's enough evidence.
It's getting there.
It got to be somewhat
right? No, like
close, Tyree, right?
Yeah. Stylistically, like they want to beat you up. That is something Chauncey Billups has said since the day he got here. Like I'm trying to remember the exact quote he used was something along the lines of like, we want to be the team that opponents hate to play, and that's that. I mean.
That's Tumani for sure.
Look, we'll talk a ton about Tumani, but you know what? Screw it. That's the thing.
Let's do it.
He's their spirit animal in the sense of like, you look at Trae Young in the game on Sunday, and the disgust on his face every time two is picking up 80, 90 feet. And like, dude, what are you doing here? Go away.
This is the NBA. We don't do this here.
It was maybe the 7th possession of the game for the Thunder. He pokes the ball away from SGA, and he just looks to the crowd and looks up and goes, ugh. And you could the exasperation on his face, like, I got to put up with 35 minutes of this. Every time he could get off the ball when two was on him, they try to find a switch, get Scoot on him. They just do something to get anywhere away from Tumani Kamara. And I think he is the trickle-down guy that all comes from. Jeremy Grant and Coach Billups has been very adamant in talking about how good Jeremy has been defensively, and he has been. He's been that help side guy. It's been a nightmare. Denny Avdia comes on the floor, and he gives you that effort. Ryan Rupert comes on the floor. He gives you that effort. Chris Murray. Rob, it's so weird to say this about a second-year guy, and I've hammered this home since I saw him play. Two is he is bigger wing Wes Matthews. Like if you're like extolling the virtues of a former Portland Trailblazer, he is the guy hitting the drum for their mentality. And I think adding a guy like Donovan Clingan to that has reinforced it because you've got one on the inside, one on the outside, and it just becomes this thing that echoes throughout the team.
Now we all love Iron Man. And this isn't a shot at Wes by any means.
No.
Wes is beloved. I love Wes. But at this point, don't you think the aspirations are higher than Wes?
Yes, I'm saying stylistically.
And Wes was a great Blazer.
But not only that, Two's a more functional defender. I was talking back and forth with some other folks in the scouting community tonight, and one of the guys that I respect a ton was like, I think Two can be a Defensive Player of the Year caliber defender, which sounds like an insane thing to say, but that is a sentiment that is echoed throughout the league. Like, he's going to get genuine love for a defensive, not Defensive Player of the Year, but an all-defensive team.
If you watch him, yeah.
No, I mean, like, I've heard it from scouts, I've heard it from other executives, I've heard it from other players. Lord only knows that. I mean, I think I've mentioned before, like,
everyone hates him.
Opposing point guards
in a good way.
have a real healthy level of respect.
Hold up. Yeah.
But it is nothing but profane words.
Sure.
Like, that is all that comes out of their mouth.
Bleep.
Yes, that bleepity bleep. And it's said with, like, the highest level of reverence. But offense matters too. And you look at the score tonight, it was what, 70 to 69?
It was 70 to 69 at halftime, and the last time they played it was 68-68 at halftime. So the complete opposite of what you had.
No, it was in the third
first
quarter
time
night.
around.
That
Excuse me. Yeah, the third quarter was 70-69 tonight, and it was 68-68 at halftime the last time they played.
Yeah, and I think that's what if you look at this, both teams managed to get to 30 in the fourth quarter. The Trailblazers got to 30, the Thunder got to 39. That ended up being quite literally the difference in the game. But it was a rock fight of epic proportions. Nobody could hit a shot, and a big part of that is the Oklahoma City Thunder are built around guys like Tumani Kamara. They have a dozen of them. They get Isaiah Hartenstein back, who doesn't start. They start small, and you thought, oh, maybe they're going to junk it up, and it's going to cause Donovan Clingan to have some issues. They couldn't hit a shot to save their lives. So they go, hey, look, it's Hartenstein's first game back. We're going to try and limit his minutes. What did he finish it with?
29.
He played a little bit more than they wanted him to. But, I mean, he's the difference in the game for them tonight. Like, point blank, he was the difference in the game for them tonight.
I mean, also for the difference for the Blazers was they had 14 turnovers with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, that's tough.
The second quarter, 14 turnovers. We didn't see that the last 3 games out of the Blazers. It's at least to start the game.
I mean,
the turnovers piled up after, but not at the start.
No.
And to that point, Tyree, it evened out a little bit the longer we went into the game, but in the end, Portland had 79 shots and OKC had 91. And that shot disparity really tightened up later in the game because there were so many turnovers for Portland. OKC, I think at one point it was like 22 to 13 in terms of shots, which was crazy considering the start for Portland. And obviously, Jeremy had the really hot start, but Portland came out flying to that 23-13 lead. And I mentioned this to you, Dan, and Tyree, I'm curious if you're seeing this too with this team. It feels like every time their opponent, a better team, because Portland, most of the times when we play in a team that's better than them from a talent perspective, they get out to like a 5 to 7 point lead. Okay. And it always feels like scary time. And Portland always seems to, at least so far this season, get a bucket or get a stop to shrink it back down and keep it manageable. We haven't seen a lot of games, especially in the last 2 weeks, kind of with the entry of Rob and Shea into things, where a team has run away and hidden from the Blazers in the third quarter. It just hasn't happened. Do you feel like you're seeing that too, or are you seeing something different?
I'll say at least in the last 3 games. If you're talking from the start of the season, then
last couple 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. It was their developmental game in the third quarter has always been a lot more on par the past 3 games. They've been able to stick with the teams or take a lead in the third quarter. Now, obviously, that helped with having the available people on the floor like Anfernee Simons, and Jeremy Grant was in the double figures, and obviously they missed Simons tonight, which you can attest to that. But I can say that third quarter has been a lot more. It's been better for the Blazers in the right ways, at least in the right ways. The last 3 games,
they've won it the last couple games, and I think it's even before the Memphis game and before you had the previous Oklahoma City game where things went sideways in the third quarters in tremendous fashion. It wasn't that the Blazers weren't making adjustments. It's that they weren't executing those adjustments. That was a big thing that I noticed is like, hey, they saw something at halftime and they made this change and they're hunting this and they're trying to move the ball to the weak side to attack this. Like there's a couple different notes but that I had in my notebook kind of a deal, but I can't go, oh, yeah, no, hey, they lost by 35. Let me go ahead and tell you about this thing that they were trying to do that they weren't able to actually execute. It's like, that doesn't matter. Like, I take that stuff, ball it up, throw it in the sun because it doesn't matter. Because all the things that you try to do versus what you're actually able to do and get done. Look, the identity of this team is the identity that we talked about in the first week. It hasn't changed. It's they're going to just pull you down into the quicksand. They're going to try to run. I tweeted out some of the numbers prior to the game tonight. Depending on how you want to cut it, they're either 12th in total transition opportunities or they're 11th in total transition opportunities per 100 possessions. So they're right there. They're just on the outside. They're also the least effective and least efficient transition team in the league by orders of magnitude.
So what's this pace actually doing?
Exactly. And so now you're generating more opportunities and you're limiting your opponents. But like if you're looking at it from the glass half full perspective, it's like they're so bad at this now. If they take mild improvements, you could see real gains. But what do they have to do and what can they get to kind of increase that? Because on top of everything else, having the poor finishing and the poor effective field goal percentage in transition, they're also one of the teams that they're 25th in the league in turnover percentage in transition. So they're giving it right back. And so those are all the signs and hallmarks of a young team. And those are the kind of things like this 3-game winning streak. I think we can take a step back and kind of compare and contrast that to this game, right? There's something has gone wrong, air quotes, for the opponent in every one of these games, right? That the Blazers won. You had the Hawks with, 25 turnovers and just completely fell apart, upside down, left, right, and center. You had back-to-back games from Shaedon Sharpe where maybe the 2 best games of his career, right? Donovan Clingan has 17, 12, and 8 in one game. The Timberwolves have shooting disparity that's out of this world, right? Yeah. Okay, you take a look at the Thunder tonight. They also had a lot of stuff go wrong. They're 9 of 31 from 3. They turn the ball over. SGA is a train wreck, and they walk away with a 10-point win.
Yeah, I understand your point, but didn't we already kind of know this going into the season that for Portland to, I mean, they're almost a third of their way to their win total already, which is why people are starting to, maybe this calms folks down a little bit tonight. But
Chill.
Didn't we think that a lot of stuff had to break right for Portland to break through and win games this season, and that's been the case? Because I mean, the flip side of that, Dan, is it's not like Portland is going to walk into Boston and match them with 3-pointers, right? They're not going to take on the Cavs and match them from an offensive perspective. So I don't quite get how Portland is going to win games unless things like this happen. And a big part of it is their defense and their attitude and being plucky. Like I said, I think that plays a big role in it. I just don't think it's realistic to look at this Blazers squad and say, hey, you're going to outshoot a team and that's how you're going to win a game. Sure, it can happen on a night-to-night basis, but I think they're going to more often win the ugly games than they're going to win the pretty games.
I agree. And you know what's also nice about this? Big Hannah Subaru is nice about this. Joe, what they got going on, my brother?
Do they believe in nice?
They sure do. At Dick Hannah Subaru, they're all about making the car buying experience a pleasure. Not only does every new Subaru come with a lifetime, a powertrain warranty, but for a limited time, you also get 2 Mount Hood Fusion passes with your purchase or lease. Dick Hannah Subaru, they believe in nice. Visit today and see what makes them different. What makes us different, Tyree?
Trend-BA! You don't want to say it?
Trend-BA?
All right, there we go.
Trend-BA.
It's a little Trend-BA time now. When we get a second, let's go to the Blazer box for our first Trend-BA topic. One of the things that I gotta visit about this one is LeBron James on X. I say Twitter because y'all don't know what X is. He announced today he will be leaving social media and with that said, I'll holla at y'all. Get it on social media for the time being. Y'all take care. What's your guys' thoughts on King James leaving social media?
I always think it's funny when someone tweets something for engagement about how they're leaving a social media platform. I find that really funny. Like, if you really just want to take a break from Twitter, just go away. You don't have to announce everything.
If you're going to Blue Sky, say, here's my handle, and then just...
But, it's not even that. And look, LeBron had the little post locker room, I won't call it rant, but sort of monologue or diatribe about how no one believes him and he's a liar and all of these sorts of things. So this is like the impetus for it, which
the guy
I
that
get.
is on the first page
but
of
it's
every
attention
book.
getting.
It's the guy on the first page of every book, in every photo.
Right.
Come on. But for those that are unaware of what he said or what happened, Dalton Connect tied a rookie record last night. He hit 9 threes. He scored 21 points in under 5 minutes. He had 37 total points in the game. He was masterful, and he was just enough for the Lakers to win their cup game. Well, following the game, LeBron James was asked what he thought of Dalton Connect.
Just enough.
And just enough. He was asked what he thought of Dalton Connect, and he said 16 other teams, the Lakers didn't find Dalton Connect. 16 other teams bleeped it up.
Yeah.
And
cool,
okay,
bro.
that's awesome, dude. It isn't like Dalton Connect had 11 total threes made coming into that game, and he had performed in a not great fashion, and he just had one game that was on national TV. Oh, and here we go with the Laker prestige nonsense. It's just
the Rook caught a heater, and by the way, look at who the Lakers have beaten this season. It's not a murderer's row. Look, I'm very interested to see what happens.
They've won
over the
6
next 15
straight. They're
games.
10-4
They
now.
have.
But the
Undefeated
teams they've
at
beaten,
home. Yeah.
Philadelphia, who's 2-11, Toronto, Utah was who they beat last night, who's probably the second or worst team in the league right now.
We're better than Utah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Technically, mathematically, even.
Talent-wise, don't.
Oh yeah, no. I'm saying yes.
Yeah. Unless the folks in Utah is watching, I don't care if you are.
He's agreeing.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing. I'm 100% agreeing. But yeah, no, you had the LeScout Braun instead of, or LeScout James instead of Le GM. And it's like, look, this is the same guy that talked about, drafting Mario Chalmers and, he was going to be this. And it's just like,
look, I get it.
Come on, man.
It is not the same thing being an athlete today that it was like 25 years ago. But I think most people really prefer the earnestness of a Kevin Durant who's just a literal troll on Twitter. Like if you're not a Twitter person, basically Kevin Durant will come at anybody on Twitter about anything.
And tells
everybody.
Your parlays
funny.
don't matter.
Yes.
And then go sign with a gambling partner. Shout out to KD for getting the bag.
He's
tremendous stuff.
The absolute best. KD has completely won me over later in his
He's
career.
fun.
With all this social,
into
he's fun.
He
Exactly.
leaned into something for the first time because he walked away from Durantula. He walked away from Slim Reaper. And now he's leaning into being the world's biggest troll. And look, lean into it.
You're a LeBron guy, Tyree. What do you say?
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't really understand the announcing social media leaving either. But I'll say this: it gets your numbers, it gets your clicks, and it gets people talking like us.
It does.
See?
LeBron wins yet again.
Yeah, I mean
he did it.
I'm sure that's what he wanted.
He did it.
Yeah,
he wanted attention, and he got it.
He got the attention. You know what? Let's give some more attention, back to our boys. What are some changes you guys think needs to be made? Because they got another game this week, NBA Cup game, Friday against the Houston Rockets. We'll talk more about that later. But just like from tonight's perspective, what are some changes you think needs to be made? We don't know what's the status of Scoot Henderson coming into the next game as well.
I know where Dan's going, so just save that.
Wait.
Just save that for a second. I do think we have to look at this game a little bit and say, even without Chet Holmgren, you are playing one of the best teams in the NBA.
You're playing one of the best teams. Yeah, the entire
Sharp
NBA.
had 6 turnovers, and he was 6 of 16, and he struggled in the paint. And I don't think you can place a ton of the blame on Shaedon Sharp. I think you can look to the Oklahoma City defense and the fact that they're basically doing that pool noodle drill. When someone goes into the paint, they're whacking them with pool noodles to make sure they can handle the ball. I've never seen a team so effectively swipe at a ball
It's a team
and
full
hit
of
the ball.
team full of great hands. It's great hands up and down the roster.
It's a scary, scary group, and I do think that's a big part of it. So to answer your question, Tyree, I don't know if a ton of changes are really needed. I think this team
that Houston team is very much the same.
No. I'm not saying that Portland is going to be competitive against Houston playing the way they played tonight.
Okay.
All I'm saying is I don't know how many changes you can really make other than hoping that you get Ant back, that maybe DA is able to play, because that will certainly help things.
Look, as much as the whole thing is like the Blazers are playing better without them, it's like, yeah, there's some things happening, but the number one, getting Anfernee Simons back, which it does sound like he will probably be back on Friday. He's still battling a illness in his chest, and if he can play the minutes, he'll go. Having another guy that can create, you saw Banton tonight. Look, we didn't get great Delano Banton. He was 3 of 11, had some turnovers, got lost, didn't know what to do.
Wasn't shy.
That's the thing.
Eight three-point attempts.
He's still going to get them up.
Yeah.
As you said, Shaedon Sharp was really limited in the paint tonight. He was 2 of 8, 4 of 8 from 3, which kind of buoyed the night, and he also got to the line 6 times. But the thing was 6 turnovers, and this is not going to change overnight. This is not a thing that's going to happen immediately. Shaedon Sharp has to spend the next year tightening his handle. It's not Jaylen Brown, I can't go left kind of a situation, but he gets a little too far outside his frame, and good defensive teams will hound you. And you saw later in the game tonight what OKC said. You're the only guy who can put the ball on the floor and score at all 3 levels. Every time he came off a pin down, every time he came off a screen, every time he came off a DHO, 2 guys sliding into the paint in front of him. They said, nope, anyone but you. But that's what you have to be able to defeat, either getting by it or creating for others. And he wasn't able to do either tonight. And again, I'm not killing the kid. He's in his 3rd year. He's going to, once you get into year 4 and beyond, that's when the mastery stuff starts happening. But this is a learning night. For all the people who saw 30-plus points from Shaedon Sharp the last 2 games, these are the other efforts that happen in between those. The whole, growth is not linear thing, that's what this is.
This is part of the development.
This is how you learn.
You have to have games like this. It's not quite a one-to-one analogy, but it's almost like when a team that's on the rise in the NBA makes a first-round series, and then they get knocked out. And then they make the first-round series. They win the first-round series. Then the second round, they get knocked out. It's just sort of a natural maturation process, and you have to take your lumps in doing it against a team like OKC. It's like a capstone course, right? This isn't one-on-one basketball you're playing against OKC. This is very advanced stuff. And Shea felt it a little bit tonight. It was very difficult to get in the paint and make anything happen, Tyree.
No, but you wouldn't have been able to tell from his demeanor or the way that he was playing. His game was still energy. His game was still
Absolutely.
up there, and he still had 21 points.
Yeah.
Let's go to Blazer Box real quick to see what the conversations are like. Make sure to use the hashtag RCWrapUp to join in the conversation on social media, because there's a lot of questions that a lot of people are asking. I get that. Mark Coker is asking a little bit on social media, with Scoot out due to injury, do you think Simons will start in the next game? Well, we don't know what's going to happen to Scoot, if he will be available for the next game, but that is an interesting question because we haven't seen Simons for a little bit. Danny, I know that's your guy. What's a little bit? What do you think? Do you think Simons?
If Ant's healthy, he's starting.
Yeah.
Like, that's, look, as bad as Ant has been, and he knows it, Scoot has still not been as good as bad Anfernee Simons. Like, that's an actual thing that's happened. So for everybody who's talking about, Scoot deserves this, and it's like, he doesn't. If you're looking for the best case scenario for the Trailblazers and Scoot Henderson's development, when Ant was struggling to start the season, you would want there to be no discussion about Scoot saying, this is mine. The whole keep what you kill mentality. That isn't there. Does that mean Ant is going to come in and be guaranteed that spot going forward and somebody can't come take it from him? No, it doesn't. But I think Ant also knows that, and I think that his introduction back in there, it'll be interesting to see how the offense looks, because it has been a couple of games. They have changed some things up, and the rotations have certainly changed. And I don't know if DA will be back on Friday. I haven't heard it really kind of either way. It was kind of an uncertain time frame for how long he'd be out. But Ant adds another dimension. It stretches the defense out. It allows Shaedon to do some things off ball, which I think you saw tonight. Having Shaedon on the ball, he's not quite ready to be the on-the-ball guy all the time. Yeah. And having that other ability, and then having Denny Avdia be the third guy that kind of comes in and can have both of those guys working off the ball as shooters, I think it'll be an interesting kind of look to see how that kind of works.
Well, I think it's logical that people would have fatigue specifically pointed at Ant Simons. And I don't think it has anything to do with how good of a player he is. It's just, if you're looking at this season, Ant has struggled. And Ant has been out a few games, and the team has been successful. So even though it's a very small sample size, there's enough of a pattern where a fan could come in and say, hey, look, the team's playing better without Ant. Why do we want Ant back? And tonight is the perfect example. Like, if you had a couple more threes go down, you actually could have stolen this game in Oklahoma City. I mean, we talk about the variance and the difference in the number of threes. It's a 10-point game. That's 4 threes. If Ant comes in and knocks down 4 threes, there's an opportunity to steal this game. And I just think over the long haul, Anfernee Simons is someone that this Blazer team needs to generate offense. And he is still a better option than Scoot Henderson.
And that's the thing is, you look at Portland's offense tonight, they were 15 of 38 from 3. They broke that made 14, took at least 35 kind of barrier. But the problem was they were egregious from 2. They just could not finish their 2-point shots. And you just kind of look up and down the board. Jeremy Grant was 3 of 7 from 3, but 3 of 10 from the field.
And Jeremy started hot. I want to say he missed his
3.
Yeah, he missed his last 7 then.
Yeah, and you just kind of look at Shaedon Sharpe was 2 of 8 from 2. Scoot Henderson was what, 2? No, Scoot was actually okay from 2. Just kind of going on the list. I just looking at the box score, like, guys struggled from. Denny was what, 1 of 6 from 2. Like, you just kind of look at what happened tonight, and it's just no one could get that. And again, going back to the Thunder and how handsy and how active they are, but Isaiah Hartenstein, my goodness, he is their Robert Williams. He is their Time Lord. He's their connector on offense. I mean,
first game he's played for them.
The back-to-back, behind-the-back passes on back-to-back plays that both Thunder players smoked is enough of a reason to pack that franchise up and send them back to Seattle. Unbelievable passes. Just whoop, full-on Magic Johnson. Whole defense went the other way. He gets the rebound, resets, and does it again. And they smoke the bunny, and you're just sitting there going, okay, dude, just please don't. But 6 of 12 for tonight, 13 points, 14 rebounds. Weirdly enough, only ends up with 3 assists. There were so many times tonight where it felt like he passed them open, got them into spots, just made everything look so much better on a night where the Thunder shot 9 of 31 from 3. If they shoot a normal percentage, I mean, Look, Lou Dort taking any shot was a win for the Blazers on a possession. He was 0 of 7
Danny
tonight.
stood up and applauded any time Lou Dort was shooting a three.
Because it was a win for the possession.
Yes.
The problem was the Thunder, who are, a foot shorter than the Blazers across the board, matched them on the offensive glass. The Blazers pregame spent all this time talking about the Blazers are the biggest team in the NBA, and yet 15 offensive rebounds to 16 offensive rebounds for the Blazers. The
A lot
defensive
of ball watching I saw, Danny, tonight. A lot of ball watching.
There is, and the crazy thing is the I don't know if we've talked about this yet. In the preseason, the Blazers in training camp, the Blazers put a contraption on the rim that looks like a torture device, and it's designed to shoot the ball off every single direction.
The Dennis Rodman?
Yes. And you just completely and totally unpredictable, so that everybody has to concentrate. And I was asking Chauncey, like, have you ever had to concentrate on rebounding in camp? Like, not as a coach, as a player, like, no. It tells you, number one, there's not many guys coming into the league now where guys aren't doing mic and drills and they aren't doing it's just not. It's just not. Think about big men camp. That doesn't exist anymore. Like that's
they're
not
on the perimeter, Dan.
Yeah, and with that, you get rebounds that are sprayed further out, guys that are leaking out in transition, trying to play fast, and and this is why guys like this matter. Denny Avdia is one of the best wing rebounders in the league on the defensive glass. Jason Tatum, Jalen, you look at these guys that are plus rebounders as wings, they add so much value to your game, and if you can't secure the defensive glass. There was this period in the NBA for about 10 years, basically during the Curry peak Warriors, where offensive rebounding stopped. It was just not something. It's like stolen bases in baseball. But all of a sudden, so many teams stopped doing it that the value of it exploded.
Sure.
And now you're seeing, the Blazers are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league.
They're zigging when everyone's zagging.
And you're looking at that, again, the Blazers spent the pregame talking about how they're the biggest team in the league. So they're bigger, stronger, longer. They're really hitting the offensive glass. They're trying to compensate and cover up for all of their different shortcomings. They can't shoot. They're the worst paint finishing team. They're a bad transition team. But they're trying to exploit all of these other areas. But the problem is, it's kind of like when you've got the cartoon, when you've got the boat that has 18 different holes. You're just sticking fingers in holes and trying to plug stuff, but there's still leaks popping up everywhere. And that's, I hate that it sounds so negative, but they're trying things. But they're just, at some point in time, one leak just too much.
But it's so strange to me, Tyree, because we talk about the incredible effort this team shows and hustle at so many opportunities. And when I see this team ball watch, on a defensive rebound opportunity, it just seems to be the antithesis of what they're doing at any other time on the floor. Doesn't that surprise you when you see this team not really dive after defensive rebounds the way that they're moving in the rest of the game?
It makes you question effort a little bit, right? Just a tad.
Maybe a little bit. I just don't know what else you can point to if this team is flying around playing really, I'll say, competitive defense, trying to run it on the offensive end. And then you have this one little pocket of the game, defensive rebounding, which is so important and has been an emphasis for Chauncey in the postgame multiple times. And we just don't see the effectiveness from this team. It's just very surprising to me.
You basically need everything to come together. And Anfernee Simons is a big part of that. So, y'all know Danny, he's going to give you everything you need, and I'm going to round it out for you. So essentially, yes, Anfernee will be starting if he's healthy in place of that. Because, listen, and I'll say this stat real quick. 15 of 38. That's how many threes Portland, that was their attempts, and then that's how many made. 9 to 31 was OKC. Anfernee will be the key to hit those two. He hits his floaters, but also your three-point percentage would be higher because he is obviously from the three. So he would be a big help just because they were winning without him.
He's also the release valve. I hate this because it was something that people said all the time of the whole Terry Stotts offense was save us Dame, and that was never the case. And I think Ant felt the whole save us Ant stuff to start the year. And I don't want that to seem like an excuse, but their offense was so broken and so just janky that a lot of times he was like, screw it, I got to get a shot up here, because if I don't get a shot up here, the shot that we may get is going to be even worse than the one that I'm going to get up. And I think you're now seeing them play. There's a lot more trust in guys, even with, look, there was a lot of shots hitting the rim tonight for both teams. There were some off the side of the backboard, some off the side of the rim.
You weren't doing Hassan shooters.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it was a lot of it was the opposite. It was a lot
Yeah.
of ducking because it was hitting the side of the rim.
Shooting everywhere.
Dort had one, Delano had one that was like, whoa, goodness gracious. You know, and look, Ant hasn't been he's had a few of those. Like everybody has had, bless you. Everybody has had a couple of those, you know, throughout the season this year, and that's because there's a lot of inconsistent shooting. But if Shaedon Sharpe is attacking on a second side versus seeing 5 sets of eyes, it's a lot easier for him to work on that side of the ball. It's a lot, or that side of the floor.
Yeah.
And I think that's more than Ant getting shots and getting opportunities. It's the gravity. And look, Ant could go 20 games shooting poorly, and teams are not going to treat him any differently. There isn't a team in the league that looks at Anfernee Simons and goes, no, we want you to
sag.
Yeah, we're going to go under screens on you. Like, that's just not going to happen. And so having him on the floor, it changes the gravity of the game, and it changes how defenses react. And what's unfortunate is right now we only have 5 minutes of Anfernee Simons and Shaedon Sharpe on the season. That's the thing is we have like 5 minutes and like 50 seconds, something along those lines. It's like, this sucks.
And Rob, too.
Yeah.
Rob would help tremendously.
Yeah, and look, I think one of the biggest things that has been underscored with DA being out is the effectiveness of screening hard and diving hard. And if DA can get to that, doing that regularly, and he's shown that he's wanted to and is willing to, even if it kind of goes with how he's played for the last couple of years. But Donovan rolling hard, look, does Donovan have this diverse offensive bag? No. He's 7'3", 290 pounds, and he says, throw ball high.
Did you see the moment? There was a moment where there was a switch, and he had a very small defender on him, and he kind of called for the ball. And I can't remember who had it at the top of the key, but they immediately diverted away. And I'm like, I just want to see it. I want to see him dump the ball into DC 5 feet from the basket with a smaller defender, and let's see what he has to finish.
He did one tonight. He did get one. He got the offensive rebound, and he's about 2 feet away from the rim, and he just got not a little real post move or anything along those lines, but it's the one shot that I want to see him take all season, which is a little baby hook.
Yeah.
And he just he got under control, got both feet underneath him, dipped his big shoulder in, and then just kind of went over top. It skips across the rim and slides off, and I was like, I don't care. That's the shot I want you taking. Like, if you can't power up and dunk, if you got a little guy on you, square up, put your butt into him, turn the corner, and float the thing over there, because there's nobody on this planet that's getting to that.
Well, it's so funny because Hartenstein had a classic Nurk push shot from like 10 feet, but it went in, which was a difference. And also,
he's got that in his bag. He's got weird floaters.
It's not only that he has the weird floater in his bag, because Nurk had it at times, but I feel more comfortable with a big taking that push shot if they're doing the other big man stuff in an aggressive
Going
way.
forward.
It's not just finesse, right? A finesse is a wrinkle to the normal stuff that they do. And that's what I like to see. And that's what I like to see from Donovan. It's clearly like advanced level stuff. But eventually, I'd like to see those kinds of moves. And yes, a baby hook. Who doesn't love a baby hook?
That's nice.
It's a beautiful shot.
Look,
It's a
if
beautiful
you
and nice
if you want
shot.
to think about a positive thing tonight, I think Donovan was a positive thing tonight in the sense of that he actually performed well when Isaiah Hartenstein was off the floor. He didn't, like the first time that he hit the floor when Chet Holmgren went down against the Blazers,
It was a mess.
it was like, oh no,
Yeah.
this isn't good. And it was like, no.
The play's just running by him both
Yeah,
ways.
and he was out of his depth.
Yep.
He got crossed up a few times tonight. He also smacked Scoot Henderson in the back of the head once when they were in a zone scheme, and Scoot rotated down to be the low man and put his back against Donovan's chest, and Donovan kind of went whack. Like, dude, I'm here. I'm not leaving here. Your job is to get out there. And it was like he was kind of directing that traffic. That wasn't just Scoot thing. It was it was very much a look. I'm not leaving the paint. We're going to this zone scheme right now because this keeps me here, and this is what allows me to kind of direct traffic.
Well,
and I think that there's going to be a little bit of a wrinkle and a change with that as guys get used to. Well, I'm used to Xing out and making this move here or this rotation here. It's like, no. 7'3" guys stay in paint. You run the extra 20 feet and go out there.
So if you look closely at the beautiful soil that is the Portland Trailblazers right now, you can see some things sprouting out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And two things specifically that I'm excited about. The combo of Scoot and DC, because they do have, even though despite that example you just cited, they have a little bit of chemistry We've seen, I think, probably in the last 5 games, at least one time where Scoot has tossed it up to DC, and he's been ready, and there's been a nice conversion.
They had one tonight.
They had one tonight.
a couple of nights.
So that's one of the sprouts. The sprout that's growing a little bit bigger in that garden, that's Denny and Rob.
Yeah.
Because even though the success rate may not be as high as Scoot and DC right now, there is the germs of something there.
They're on the same sheet music.
They're both kind of like a half a step ahead of everybody else on the floor, and you can kind of see it. And it's just off a little bit right now, but you can tell when they find it. It is really going to be something special, and I'm very excited to see those guys develop that further over the next month or so.
Using the hashtag RC Wrap Up. Join the conversation. You can hear your quotes and tops here. We want to hear from you. We want to see what you guys are talking about. We want to hear from our guys, Dick Hanna Subaru. Joe, what you got for me, my man?
Did you hear that our friends at Dick Hanna Subaru are giving out Mount Hood Fusion Passes?
I didn't know. Tell me more.
Yep. 2. Plus, every new Subaru comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. That's your whole life, Tyree.
Danny, they believe in nice over at
do.
Dick Hanna's, huh?
It's a perfect time to grab a Subaru and hit the slopes this winter. A lot of snow up there right now.
I think we should try and do a show from there.
A lot
one
of
day.
See how
snow.
much snow landed? Whew.
Crazy.
That bomb cyclone.
I'm
Yeah.
not a fan.
Be careful in Washington, everybody.
I hate snow. Like, I actually hate it. Like, yeah. I hate it. I hate it more than the
I
Blazers
can't wait
lost.
for that one time when we are here very late on a night and it snows so much that we get stuck here.
Dude, okay, so
That's never happened to Joe and I
Oh,
on
feel
TV
bad
before.
for us. Feel bad for the guys in a comfy studio.
Really? I'll say this. I'll give you a quick note before we move on. Listen, last year I got a great welcome to Portland because you want to know why? I didn't know y'all's ice storms was like that. All right, let me cut the professional talk for a second and be
Yeah.
real quick. Okay, I didn't know y'all had ice storms like that. I bust my tail out there. I'm just trying to be a good civilian. Go to my car after a long day of work. Go ahead, go home to the honey, get a good, nice cooked meal. No, but I bust my tail and I'm there for 5 minutes. Why y'all ain't warn me about that?
Look, man, it's it creeps up and gets you. That's the thing out here, man.
We get like the one a year. It's horrible. We all complain about it.
Disgusting.
We say everyone else can't drive in the snow, but someone's bad, so not everyone can say that. I'm not really sure about that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Most of you can't drive.
And then,
Most of you can't.
I didn't say it.
Danny, you saying that with the mustache and the slicked back hair, it's just like
Do y'all like the
mad
mustache?
at the children.
No, the answer is no.
Can we go to the camera?
None of you
Can we
like
just show
it.
him?
None
Look
of you
at the
like
mustache.
Get a drink of water.
There you go. Let me go get the right shadow on it.
I love the mustache. That's what the conversation's about on social media.
Shout out the Banks Braves football team. My radio co-host Dusty Harrow. They're in the semifinals. They have their playoff.
There we
mustache,
go.
so
Congrats. Yep.
I am there in solidarity with them. The only difference is that mine will grow back in 4 days, where Dusty's will not grow back in 4 days.
You look like you're ready to coach special teams for them.
I look like
Get the clipboard.
I look like
Fake punt?
Stavros.
Cleveland Browns
You do.
coach.
You're
a little
much more
bit.
handsome than me.
Oh, there we go.
Let's go ahead to the Blazer box.
Yeah,
There
we
we
go. Please.
Let's go to the Blazer
Save us,
box
Blazer
because they're
box.
talking a lot on social media, and I actually want to get to this comment here because this is interesting. The Blazers. This is coming from Paul. He said, Tyree, 3-game winning streak is plenty. Focus on the prize Cooper flag. Need to start giving the vets more minutes to prep for midseason trades. Simons, Grant, Thibault should be maxing out guys for trade assets. Boy, you know why I brought this up? Because my boy Danny Marang got something to say about that. Paul, I like the 3-game win streak, but I mean, I don't think that's the way to try and get Cooper flag.
Beyond that, the trade values don't change in season unless somebody goes a player takes like Tumani Kamara. Tumani Kamara's trade value is higher now than it was to start the season because he looks like he's evolved. Right.
To be clear, he's on the no trade list.
Look,
He's on the Joe Simons no trade list.
to be blunt, the Blazers have zero interest in anything around Tumani Kamara. Like
That's
if
really
you're-
good to know.
If you're
It's
talking
really
about
good to
like this is from me. This is not from the organization. The 3 most important players for them right now are Shaden Sharp, Donovan Clingan, and Tumani Kamara.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that have shown. Yeah.
I think
And
if you took a poll of Portland, that would be the 3 guys
that'd
that
be
I
top
would
3.
pick. It would
And
have to be.
I don't say that to denigrate Scoot, but it's been 70-plus games yet, and he hasn't had the moment that makes you go, or the whole game that
Wow.
makes you go, that's the guy. Shaden has had that game. In 14 games, Donovan has had that game. Tumani has had how many of those games where you're like,
Yeah, well, tonight. He had one tonight.
I mean, when you make an MVP caliber player like
Yes.
SGA look that frustrated, I mean, what did SGA finish? Was he 6 of 17? I'm sorry, 7 of 19. He was 36% from the field. And he was out of sorts. He couldn't get. There is a clip going around right now on social media where he tried to hezzy, tween, get by. Two cuts him off, bodies him up. Cuts him off, bodies him up again.
Yeah.
Cuts him off, bodies him up into the gap defense. And Shea just disgustingly throws the ball away. And it's like, yeah. And he's done that to Julius Randle. He's done that to Trae Young. He's done that to Ant Edwards. He's doing it to 5'10" point guards and 6'9", 260-pound power forwards.
He's making a difference.
And that block he had from behind tonight
On
on
Hartenstein, goodness gracious.
unbelievable.
Goaltending, whatever.
Well, it looked like a rim check at 1st. Danny was like, was that a block? I was like, yeah, wait for the replay.
Because
he got him clean from behind.
The way Hartenstein put the ball like deep into the rim, it looked like he just rim checked it. I was like, did he get clipped on the heel going up? I was like, no, two got him. I mean, you look at Two's game tonight, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, and you're just like, yeah, and here's the thing. He's got 3 turnovers tonight, and of all the turnovers on the night, you know who's I care about the least? Tumani Kamara's. Because when the kind of turnovers that Two has, it's experimenting with stuff. It's like, hey, I'm trying to grow. It's not, oh, my handle's not good enough. It's, I'm trying to do something. And I think those are, like, you can live, and this sounds so corny and so Hoosiers-y in the sense of, like, if you make the mistake at 100%, like, okay. But if you make the mistake because you're sloppy or lazy or you're not executing, it's worse.
But isn't it fair to say that a lot of Scoot's mistakes also come at 100%, but maybe it's like 110%, and the 10% is 10% more than you actually want?
Yes, I think that's the case. And again, I wasn't saying that to
yeah.
go against Scoot or Shaden because they had a ton of turnovers.
Right.
I was saying that in the sense of, like, when Two does it, it's more of a let me experiment, whereas I feel like the ones that you see typically from Scoot or for the primary ball handlers, it's either making the wrong read, hesitating, not trust. It's less about
Getting in no man's land a lot.
Yeah,
like.
and I
It's
think-
like I'm 3 feet from the basket, but there's 4 guys around me. What do
I mean,
I do?
I can pull up the film 3 different times tonight.
Yeah.
And probably the first quarter alone where Scoot, like, it was like you had no plan. Like, those are the ones that bother me more than, like, SGA dug down and got a steal. Like, that's what they do. Like, those, protect the ball better, have a tighter handle, whatever. But it's like, if you're attacking with a plan and you just fail to execute, but you see the
aggressiveness versus recklessness.
Yes, and I think that applies to not just Tumani, but it applies to the whole roster. But when you see it with Two, because he doesn't get those opportunities, you kind of want to see him flourish or at least attempt those, because that's how you grow. Like, that's how Wes Matthews, like when you talk about a guy who added something to his game year after year after year, that's what it was.
2 of 7 from the 3, but I mean the two threes that he did make were critical.
The number that I care about there is 7. That means he's getting them
That means
up.
he's trying. Exactly.
He's not passing up open threes, and that's what you want. I want Two taking every single open 3 that he can get, because if he's going to be the shooter that you think he can be, which right now I believe he's right around 38, 39%. If he's going to be like if you're taking more than like 4.5 threes a game, you're getting into that plus volume. And if he's going to be like a super high end 3-and-D guy, like if he's like a wingish Derek White, like one of those kind of guys where like he's a bit of a connector, can work as a screener, can guard kind of 1 through 4. You're not really going to trust him to run your offense, but every now and then he can trigger something for
Reliable.
you. But if he's going to take 5 or more threes a night, that puts you in a different category, because the Blazers have another one of those guys, Matisse Thybulle. And I love Tease. You're never going to see his 3-point volume go above 4. Like, I'm talking on the season. Like, he might have a game here or there where he takes 5 to 7. But if you told me
Matisse is more of a finished product, so you kind of know what you're getting. Two is still on the ascendance, and we're trying to mold that clay.
which is insane
because
they're 2 years apart.
Yeah.
Like that's
very much
it's crazy because Two's 24 years old, and it's like, but you see that gap, and you go, if he's a guy who's going to take 5+ threes a night and be a 38% 3-point shooter, you start putting yourself in some pretty rarefied air when you're talking about like the traditional 3-and-D guy, especially if you talk about the tools that he has. And like in games like tonight, and there will be 50 more of these throughout the season, those are the wins you're looking for. When I talk about it doesn't matter necessarily in the box score, him making SGA's life just that miserable That's something as a Blazers fan you should be like, this is a guy that's going to matter. This is a guy that's like, when we get to the playoffs in 3 years, that's as a fan, like, this is the guy that, if you're talking about matching up in the playoffs, this is the guy I want guarding their best player, and I trust him. This is where all that growth comes from. And I think when you look at nights like this, and they lost by 10, they covered.
Vegas.
Hey,
Yeah.
good teams win, great teams cover. But I think those are the things. Those are when you talk about the non-box score wins that matter the most.
So let me ask you guys both this. I guess who would be the MVP for the Blazers right now? This goes into our next NBA topic. So I'm curious of what you guys think, because consistently, and I told you guys this off air, and I told you this on air. I said before his injury, it was DeAndre Ayton. Consistently double-double, providing at least 10 points a game, 10 rebounds, doing his job consistently throughout the season. That's what I said before his injury. So I want to ask you guys quickly, who would you say has been the MVP for this Blazers team so far?
Tumani.
I think it's pretty clear-cut. It's Tumani. Yeah. Consistency throughout the 15 games. When he doesn't score, he impacts in other ways. And tonight's a really good example of that. And he has had really good scoring games as well. His distribution, I think, is probably the thing that needs the most work. But that's also getting there as well. His ability to set people up and make plays. And even from where we were in night 1, being excited about him, to night 15, we've even seen growth over those 15 games. And sure, DB Hooper, you can say, yeah, maybe he's been most improved if you want to throw
Most unexpected.
Sure.
Sure.
But Tumani's been the MVP. Is that how you see it as well, Tyree?
Now, yes. Now, yes. After DA's injury, I mean, you consistently see it. And, our guy, he didn't post it yet, pissed off players per game this time, but he had
at least one.
He had one.
Yeah. He had one tonight, and Danny pointed it out, too, clearly how much he disrupts just everything that they're doing. Blazer Box. Let's go to it for a little Trimbier, because that flows into actually this topic I was curious about. StatMuse posted this about Nikola Jokic. Joe, you want to read what's popping a little bit on the screen? I can't see.
Oh, so basically this is the Joker doing so far in a dozen games, having a better season against all of these other players. So right now he's having more points than a Kobe MVP season, more rebounds than an MVP Duncan season, assists than a Nash MVP season, more steals than Smart, better three-point percentage than Curry. Everything up and down the board.
And you're talking about some seasons in there where, like, the higher true shooting percentage than Giannis.
Yeah.
Giannis had, I want to say his true shooting was like 65% last year, which for somebody at that volume, I don't care if he has no bag and all he does is dunk. He gets there and he dunks over and over and over again. Jokic doesn't. That's the funny, like, the joke about Nikola Jokic is that he never dunks because he can barely get off the ground. But all the hyperbole about him, it's deserved. He's a top 10 player of all time.
But here's the thing.
That's the insane thing.
This is the sort of season he's going to have to get another MVP award.
Yeah.
Because he's already gotten his
The narrative.
a few times.
Yeah.
And the narrative is right now around Luka, and it shifted a little bit to Tatum last night because of some rants, and apparently Tatum not getting enough respect, which
apparently 3 straight first-team All-NBA
crazy
nods,
thing.
not enough respect.
I think Jokic has to have this type of season because there's going to be a voter bias. And I think that people who vote for these awards, they want to chronicle the era in which they had these votes. So what I mean by that is Barkley won an MVP award during Jordan's heyday. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they wanted to make sure that there was a totem for Charles Barkley during that era to signal that he was one of the great players, rather than him having a better season than Michael Jordan. Jordan should have won the MVP that year, but that happened. And I think you have the opportunity this year for a season where, let's say Dallas gets it together, they're starting to already, Luka has another incredible season, he's going to get the award. They want to reward Luka for being this incredible level of player this consistently over a long period of time now to start his career. Even if this isn't the best season he has, it's very much a narrative award. So I'd be shocked if Luka doesn't take it, if Dallas really gets it together. If Joker does this, plays 70 games doing it, I think there's an argument for it.
There is an argument for it because of what he's doing is otherworldly, but there's also that the Denver Nuggets are basura without him. They are absolutely awful without him. They have, if you take him off the floor, their net rating is dead last in the league. It's like an 86.9. You put him on the team, on the floor, I believe their net rating was, their net rating, their offense was like 86.9. Their offense goes from like 86.9 to 126.8. I mean, that's nobody ever, no one has that kind of offensive impact when you're talking about on-off. Like, it shows you how bad that Nuggets team is and how great he is.
Well, that works against him too,
MVP, yeah.
because if the Nuggets don't have a top 4 record, that's also going to be difficult. It isn't the 80s and the 70s when, they were giving Jerry West Finals MVP but a losing team.
In a losing effort.
That's not how things work anymore. No. So the Nuggets have to have a certain level of wins for him to be in consideration.
I don't know if I really like that either. I mean, because MVP doesn't mean most wins.
Yeah, best player on best team.
Best team,
yeah.
and obvious. That's the stat, by the way. I didn't know that stat. That's insane because that's exactly what an MVP is, and it's kind of crazy when you look at the numbers. But I'm looking at it as if he could keep Denver in playoff competition, because I can't tell you what happened to Jamal Murray. We won't talk about that. I don't know. But if he can continue to keep Denver in playoff contention with the numbers that he has, the only other person that's going to beat him right now probably Luka, SGA. It depends. I mean, if you want to do Anthony Edwards just because of the popular name, Jason Tatum isn't going to get there to the last 3.
I don't think Tatum's ever going to be that guy because of the perception of him, as good as he is. That number one, that team, but there's just people just don't like him.
There's an ick factor.
God, I hate that word, but yes, there is. Like,
that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the entire game yesterday of them playing Cleveland, and you can't deny that Jason Tatum is one of the top handful of players.
Yeah,
in the league.
he's the top 10 player in the league.
No
doubt.
question about it. But there is a certain quality to him that is difficult to articulate, and I don't really know what it is.
And you just don't like it.
I don't,
No.
and maybe it's just the uniform that he's wearing.
It's whatever Tumani Kamara has that Jason Tatum doesn't.
Yes.
I just pulled it up real quick. So Nikola Jokic off the floor. The Denver Nuggets have a 95.3 offensive rating, which would be literally dead last in the league. Dead last.
That sounds right.
Okay. If I change it now to Nikola Jokic on the floor.
Compute.
Compute. Run it. They have a 129.2, which is the literal best.
MVP.
That's
So is it the most valuable when you're the worst team without you and the best team with you?
I mean,
is that what that means?
I think that's a clear.
they are a
statement.
minus. They are a minus 14.8 net rating with him off, and a plus 13.9 with him on. You have a 28-point swing.
I love him. I think he's great. I love
You
watching
loved him
him
the
play
second
basketball.
that big goofy hand ripped the microphone off.
I love I just think it's so fascinating that the best player in the league
Couldn't care less.
just doesn't really care that much. I think that makes him more
best.
I think it makes it more endearing because it's just a job.
It's-
Like he's not leaving social media. He doesn't he just wants to ride horses with his family.
He wants to go home.
Can the season be 40 games? 'Cause I think that's what he would prefer.
I'm pretty sure.
Too long.
Way too long. Yeah, speaking of that, you should put that in with LeBron James' 2018 season, talking about not winning MVP.
Yeah, no, it's that's the kind of season.
It's very similar.
It's an insane run, and look, as much as I don't like the fact that he doesn't care, because I think it feeds into the narrative around the NBA, as far as like how the NBA is looked at, because the best player in the NFL has never not cared. You know what I mean? I think that's the same thing in Major League Baseball. Like, that's just, I don't like that it's become okay to just be like,
I think he's so singular, though. I don't think he's representative of really anything other than himself. I do understand what you mean.
Other than big men that like
Kind of
horses.
annoying too.
It does feed into the perception that players sort of walk through the season and then we'll see what happens in the playoffs, which are already too long as it is. I just think Joker is very singular, and it's difficult to lump him in with other players. But I do understand what you guys are saying.
I mean, you talk about NBA viewership, and the best player doesn't really care whether
And
you
I
watch
think
or
it
not.
feeds into that narrative of like what it is. But if you want to talk about people that care, you've got the Houston Rockets coming up, and you've got a head coach in the Rockets, and Ime Udoka. Who cares? Who cares a lot? And this Rockets team, they can't
Crazy
play
man.
offense. If you want to talk about rock fights, this game is going to be a rock fight. Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, Fred Van Vliet, like they are going to be a
Bunch
team.
of rock throwers.
I mean, that's what this is. This is, you're not coming out of this game not bruised, and the problem is it's a back-to-back in Houston.
Well, we don't care about the second one, Tyree.
No, we care about the first
That
one
NBA
right now.
Cup.
Friday, NBA
cup.
Cup.
Means more.
Emirates NBA Cup. Game 2, 5 p.m. tip. And it's going to be on the road. It's going to be an interesting one. Ime Udoka is a crazy man since he's gotten to Houston. This is also just a perfect opportunity because we talked about the Blazers in the NBA Cup, the opportunity to, focus on that, get to Vegas, possibly do something to bring home a little bit of hardware. What's it going to be the key for them to get this dub on Friday?
You can't turn over the ball. And that's the thing is, like, Tari Eason and Amen Thompson might be the two biggest disruptive forces in the NBA right now. Imagine two guys that have the same kind of tenacity as Tumani Kamara, but are more athletic and more explosive.
Ooh.
So I had a coach at LSU where Tari Eason went to school, going into the scouting process, who told me the reason Tari Eason came off the bench was because he burned himself out because he just played at 100% all the time.
Couldn't turn it down.
And they had to be able to control his minutes and, like, ease the dog off a little bit. Right now, among forwards, he's in the 100th percentile in blocks. He's in the 98th percentile in steals. He's in the 95th percentile on offensive rebounding. He's in the 80th percentile in defensive rebounding. He is a basketball terrorist of the highest order. Like, if you wanted to create a true sicko team, put Amen Thompson, Tumani Kamara, and Tari Eason all on the floor together and just go,
Have fun.
have fun dealing with this all night. And that's the kind of game you're going to get into because the Blazers have a Chris Murray, they have a Denny Avdia, they have a Ryan Rupert, and you're just going to see a bunch of wings that really aren't effective shooters make things really, really, really hectic, and it's either going to be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen or the worst thing you've ever seen.
Well, you got to keep it clean, and you also have to clean the glass.
Yes.
You have
because
to
they
get
will hit the
defensive
glass.
rebounds, and you have to make shots. I think if you have a similar three-point shooting performance to what they had tonight,
You'll be in it.
they have half the turnovers, they're going to be in the game. I think that's what it comes down to. But defensive rebounding is going to be huge, Tyree. They have to clear the ball, and they have to get some long rebounds and run out and be successful on the other end. I also want to see them finish in the transition and have, like Danny said, a plan. And maybe when they slow it down to the half court, maybe less standing around there, too. A lot of standing around tonight in the half court.
There was an uncertainty.
Yeah.
A few out of minds out there. And from my perspective, I think they just got to make their twos, man. If they could keep the 3-point percentage that we saw right now, beating OKC from the first game when they were like, bomb, bomb, bomb.
Because right now,
Finish.
the Rockets aren't hitting threes. They're one of the worst 3-point